Back in March, I went to a local film festival called IFF Boston, and one of the movies they had on their schedule was called Obsession. Now, I think I saw a teaser for it playing in front of a couple of movies at that point because it was coming out in a couple of months. And I remember thinking, that's an interesting little teaser, but I don't know. And then I looked into it, I'm like, I don't know any of these people. Andy Richter in a horror movie? All right. That sold me alone. I'm like, I got to see Richter in a movie. And yeah, Andy Richter is barely in this movie. Only name that I knew in this. So that's where I was starting off. But by golly, this movie took me by surprise. I'm not a giant horror movie fan, but I know when I've seen a good one. And I left that theater that night thinking, well, that's something special. This is going to be a big movie. Now, you might be saying, this movie's been out for a couple of weeks now. Why are you now putting this review out? Because I find if I put out reviews before the movie comes out, like well in advance, most people don't really want to watch the reviews yet. They don't know anything about the movies and it's just obscured to them. And then I've just been behind on recording reviews. And luckily for me, this movie is a powerhouse. I think it's been out for 3 weeks now, 4 weeks possibly, and it keeps moving up the charts. It's beating some of the bigger named movies out there right now. And I've seen it twice at this point. I saw it back in March, and then I recently rewatched it to make sure I wasn't going crazy. This is my top favorite film of 2026, and I've seen 97 movies this year. This and The Furious are my top two spots. I don't even know what else is in the spots, but these two are special films. So let's get into it. It's done by a YouTuber named Curry Barker. Knew nothing about him. Comedic YouTuber. So kudos to him. He made one unhinged, unnerving clusterfuck of emotions of a horror movie. All right, so essentially you got this guy, Bear. He's in love with this girl, Nikki, a co-worker. He's loved her since he first met her, but they're kind of like, he's stuck in the friend zone. And his best friend Ian knows that he loves Nikki, but this other coworker of his, Sarah, has a crush on him, but he's not interested in her like that. And unfortunately, Nikki is going to be quitting and he'll no longer get to see her, quitting the job they all work at. And he buys this like thing, this novelty thing at like this voodoo type shop called the One Wish Willow. And in a panic, he breaks it saying, I wish Nikki Freeman would love me more than anyone's ever loved anyone ever. And instantaneously, this girl becomes obsessed with him. I don't mean falling in love. I mean obsessed. He is her everything. It gets very, very intense. When he's not home, she stands in place all hours, peeing on herself, just losing her mind, waiting, sitting in her own fecal matter. When someone else shows him affection, she doesn't like that. She attacks. When she thinks he doesn't love her anymore, she doesn't like that either. When things start off idealistic, he's happy. But then he realizes this is a little too much. Now, there's a scene involving... Well, the movie starts off with the Bear's cat dying, and that's... You already got me right there. You killed an animal. I have a cat. I have dogs. I love animals. Don't kill animals. But later on, what happens with that cat, I was like, oh, this is fucked up. And there's just so many of those moments. Like, I'm talking slow, and I'm trying to be as coherent and honest as I can. This movie goes places I never imagined. It has this look and vibe that's so lived in, so well preserved. And it has this dark dankness to it. It has this score. The score is haunting. I love the score, man. The editing is quick. It's brash. The characters are well fleshed out. The performances are top notch. Bear is Michael Johnson. Johnston. Never seen him before. Really good as this like nerdy, likable guy. Cooper Tomlinson plays his pal Ian. Kind of reminds me of Gibby from iCarly a bit. I like what he's doing here. Megan Lawless is Sarah, the girl who has a crush on him. She's really good. Andy Richter is kind of like this bumbling dad. Love him. But the breakout star of this movie is Inde Navarrette. She plays Nikki, and she goes through so many different emotions, ebbs and flows, creepy on she can turn on a dime. She's a powerhouse performer. I want so much more of her in everything. Give me Inde in movies. If she can do a third of what she did here, I think she's going big places. And speaking of going places, Curry Barker, he's going places. He already has a new movie coming out next year. That sounds like it fits in this world, I guess. I believe he was just also hired by A24 to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, and he's going to focus more on the family. Now, this movie had a budget of $750,000. For those of you who don't fully know, that is pennies on the dime. Like, that is nothing. That's a low budget, as low as they come. But let me tell you, let me go through the box office here. How intriguing it is. All right. Domestic 188,300,000. Global 265 million. All right, let's go to Box Office Mojo here. It has been out for how many weeks is this? It came out on May 15th. Let's see. We're going to go to the weekends for this. It's actually spiked up and made more money and moved up. Its first weekend, it came in third at the box office. Second weekend, second at the box office. Third weekend, second at the box office. Fourth weekend, second at the box office. It's in its fifth weekend right now and has only dropped 7.3% and landed fourth at the box office. That's 5 weeks in. That's taken on Michael, Masters of the Universe, Backrooms, which Backrooms has been plowing through it, but it's taken The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's how this little indie movie that could has just zoomed in and destroyed everything like a bulldozer. That's how good this movie. I might see this a third time in theater. I might buy it if it hits physical media. Maybe I'll buy it digitally. I don't know. I was obsessed with this movie when I first saw it months ago. It's lived rent free in my brain because there's a lot of craziness that happens in it. Fantastic performances, fantastic set design, fantastic wardrobe, fantastic acting, directing, script, everything. Stellar, killer. And seeing it a second time, I loved it even more. Still lives rent free in my brain. Like I said, 97 movies in theaters I've seen this year. Number 1. I can't wait to see it again. I love this movie. I can't say enough about it. I implore you, if you haven't seen it yet, go and see it on the big screen. Yes, I will say if you can't afford it, go see it when it streams. But if you can afford it, I would highly implore you to see it on the big screen with an audience, because hearing the cheers and jeers and frightful reactions out of the audience, that's where your money's at. I've seen this with a packed audience twice. I've seen this at 4:00 on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, packed audience. This movie needs to be seen on the big screen for the great sound design, for the great visuals, and for the audience. When I saw the first screening of this at the festival, I don't know who was there marketing it, but whoever they were was a freaking genius. So I went pee before the movie started, and I had to go in the middle of the movie, And when I got in there, the entire men's room, from wall to stall to mirror, was completely covered in Obsession sticky notes. It said Obsession and it had quotes from the movie plastered everywhere. That's how epic the marketing was at this. And I don't know how many people noticed or saw it like me, but I was blown away by that. And I'm like, this is selling an even bigger thing than I already anticipated. Like, this movie's big, and if they can keep this level of marketing up, they're in for some good returns here. And honestly, they did small marketing before the movie came out, and I think this movie got better traction as it went on. Like I said, it rose up and got better as it went. Because they doubled down and did more marketing. As word of mouth was coming out about how great this movie was, they marketed a little more. And the marketing folks deserve a raise for what they did here. Everyone who is associated with this movie should get a raise. I know there's a lot of back and forth because one of the crew members said some bad stuff. Said like, "Oh, I should have got this flip to be fucking union movie. I needed more money and blah blah blah." And it's like, you fucked yourself in the ass right there. You should have just kept your mouth shut, because people would be like, "I want to work with the production designer of Obsession," but now they're probably like, "Oh, they were talking shit," and they weren't talking illy. They were just talking about how we can fix the industry, and I appreciate that, but don't drag your movie down and say, "I demand more money because I did this and that." That's not right. You could have came up with a Dale memo if you wanted points on the back end or something and take less. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into that. Get into that on the podcast, episode 242 of Movie Toast News and Reviews. Dennis and I will probably be talking about that. So check out that episode of the podcast. But yeah, as you can see, I'm just ranting and gushing over Obsession because I love it so much. And I highly, 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 highly implore you go and see it as soon as possible on the big screen, like I said before. And while you're here, if you saw the movie, let's talk about Obsession in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with me on everything I've said? And while you're there, if you could throw me a like and subscribe, I'd be super grateful. So grateful that I'll put out daily videos for your viewing pleasure right here on this platform. And if you happen to like entertainment podcasts, I host one. It's called Movie Toast News and Reviews, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, and please stay toasty.